Hello students, today we're going to do a quick run through of the different philosophers of China. This is by no means an exhaustive run through, this is more of a quick overview to remind you of things. So let's dive right in. We've got Confucianism up top. This is where we kind of draw into the middle of either less or more government control. And if you'd like to take notes along with me, I'll have a copy of them posted in the description. So if you just want to click the link and print them out, now's your best chance. So with Confucianism, the founder was Confucius. And he was pretty much all about virtue and ritual. He saw a lot of kings not doing their jobs during the Warring States period, so he went around and tried to preach that virtue and ritual are the best ways to keep our hierarchy in check and to make sure that China restored order. Something to make note of is that this is a very secular point of view or philosophy. It doesn't deal so much with heaven, it deals more with what can we do on earth to kind of figure this out. One of the things that he says is that we need to really lead by example. Your kings need to be the ones that drive us into the next level, into order rather than chaos. And the way that they do that is by leading with that virtue. In addition, you want to have the kings follow their rituals as well. And again, rituals don't necessarily have to be something super extravagant or what you would originally think as a ritual. It can be something as simple as the way that you say hello. What Confucius is trying to say is that benevolent leaders inspire loyalty. And so basically what he sees is he sees that the whole state is kind of a bigger version of your family. And he preaches that filial piety, where you honor your parents, your elders, your ancestors, the whole concept of that translates not just into your family but also to the state as a whole. This is because hierarchy is the way that he sees the state sticking together. The idea is that everybody has their place and everybody stays in their lane. So make sure that you stay in your spot in the hierarchy. You don't try to move up or down, but you treat those below you with benevolence and those above you with respect. So hierarchy is the way that you are going to restore order to China, to keep that hierarchy in check. Another thing that Confucianism really focuses on is self-improvement. The way that he says we should do this is through education. Education is very important in Confucianism. The reason for that being, if you have an educated population, then that means that you will have a merit-based leadership. And with that, you'll have the best people running the best states. We see this in Han China. With those civil service exams. So Confucianism, again, that's the kind of middle of the road. It's not overly controlling. The government really, its role is to lead by example. The Taoists, they were a lot less government control. They were not... If they had their way, there wouldn't be any government at all. They viewed it as unnatural. And Taoism is all about the natural way of being. Taoism was founded by a may or may not have actually existed person named Lao Tzu. And Lao Tzu, again, kind of roughly translates to mean old man. And we know that he probably might have possibly existed. Because it's very rare in mythos that we'll see somebody actually ride off into the sunset on their water buffalo. So Lao Tzu is a very interesting character. This one is the only one of the three that's very spiritual. Dealing with the natural world, heaven, and spirits. The idea that they have about self-improvement and education. As Confucius wanted. They weren't really big fans of that. They thought it was kind of a waste of time and basically just trash. They thought the same thing about the way that the government was rolling. They thought that there was no real need for a government. If we had less government, it'd be better, because ultimately they're all about mankind's return to nature. In fact, several of them would actually return to the mountains to rejoin nature. They preached a philosophy of non-action, and basically, if we remember from class, they're all about going with the flow of nature. They're kind of the crush of the world. Their philosophy will eventually lead to the Yellow Turban Rebellion. Of course, it's not the only cause of the Yellow Turban Rebellion. They went through a bit of a famine. They went through kind of a hard time under the Han. But the philosophy of Taoism was to try and overthrow it. They had this really utopian view of the world. They didn't want to see any government, and they didn't want to see any landlords. And this took long enough for the Han to put down that it's actually one of the contributing factors of Han China falling. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, we've got legalism. They are all about more government control. In fact, they're all about complete government control. The big name we need to know from legalism is Han Fei. And this one is also dealing with a very secular worldview. With legalism, we're talking a big movement by the government. We're talking big government. We're talking the government giving big rewards, and the government giving big punishments. So the idea is you reward them big and you punish them big. Because people, under the legalism point of view, are stupid, they're short-sighted, and they're evil. In the legalism point of view, only trust the government or the state, later down the line, government or the state, and the rulers. The reason for that being, only the government, the rulers, and the state can look into the future. Only the government, the state, and the rulers are focused on the future. They're the only ones looking out for the long term. Under legalism, it is a very harsh system of punishments. They do have big rewards, but the punishments are the bigger thing here. And that's to dissuade people from their nature of being evil. By and large, guys, legalism only lasts for a little bit. It's only under the Qin. And again, the Qin are only there for about 11 years before they're ousted by the Han. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments. Have a wonderful night, or wonderful weekend, rather.